name is Todd Norian, and I'm the founder of Ashaya Yoga. Good afternoon, and welcome to this little talk. Ashaya means abode of the heart. It's the safe haven, the place inside of ourselves where there's no resistance, there's no friction. It's just wonderful, beautiful, and easy. In this abode of the heart, the parasympathetic nervous system is turned on, which means we're not running from the woolly mammoth. We are just at ease. We are abiding in the calm deep inside of ourselves. And that really is the potential that yoga has to help us release anxiety and worry and to come home to this place in the center of the heart where we can be calm and when we're peaceful. And the way of sort of navigating our life is to do it from a place where you're centered, where you're present in the moment, where you're unattached. And it's very difficult to get to that place when we're dealing with so much and living such a high-paced, rushed, stressed out life. You know, it's no wonder we live in a survival mode most of the time. And then typically to relieve stress, then we go out and we drink or we eat too much or we stay up late, which are all okay things because they can alleviate stress, but they all have negative consequences. So I always like to say that yoga is the natural high, and it leaves you feeling so refreshed. So what makes Ashaya yoga, what makes Ashaya yoga different? And Ashaya yoga is a yoga that has a very deep spiritual root while also based in the alignment of the physical body. And the concept comes from the tantric tradition, which is all about to weave back together ourself with spirit. And the idea is that everything in the material universe has been separated off from the one vast infinite sky of consciousness. And so in order for us to become individuals, we had to separate. It's like the primordial separation from the oneness that was there, you could say, before the Big Bang. And this is a natural separation that then we seek to actually remember again where we came from. So Ashaya technique is based in the 5 elements. We know from science that all elements are forged in stars. Heavier elements are forged in the supernova when the star dies, and then it explodes, and the pressures and the heat is so intense that the heavier elements do get formed. And so if you look around your room right now, like everything in this room is made of the elements. And it was all forged in stars. So we use that metaphor to say, well, we come from this divine, universal, vast source of freedom. And so freedom is one of the big sort of spiritual foundations, that everybody is free. And we're free to make a meaning of life that is so diminishing of ourselves. Sometimes we say, oh, life keeps happening to me. And that's really sort of the language of being under the pressure, under the spell of the victim, under the spell of our challenges, under the spell of our wounds that we can't seem to get out from under. And the shift is that we have the freedom to make meaning that is, life is happening for me. Life has my back. Everything in life is for our awakening. And when we tune into that, we start to shift from being the victim of all the bad things that are happening in life to what I call, we shift from victim consciousness to victory consciousness. And that is where you become sort of the master of your own being, the master of your mind, the master of your thoughts, the master of your emotions, such that we can more readily catch ourselves when we tighten and then choose to open. Or when we're afraid and the breath gets really shallow, we become aware of it. And we just choose, okay, I'm scared, I'm tight. I'm going to take a deep breath now and see what happens. I mean, just earlier today, I was just so contracted from working at my desk. And there are so many things that keep changing in life and also in business. And I was just feeling all the pressure. And I said, it's a sunny day out. It was cool. It was only 55 degrees, but so sunny. I said, I'm on my bike. And I just went out. I did this amazing bike ride. And I just let myself be receptive to all the beautiful colors, the radiant blue sky, temperature, the wind, all of it. I came back completely refreshed and calm. It's like, where did the worry go? It's, I just know there's certain things that I can do to help me come back to this place where I remember the abode of the heart, which rests in a peaceful, sort of non-turbulent place inside, to know that we can get back there all the time. So back to my point, the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky, that are forged in the universe, in stars, are the constituents of our body and constituents of our consciousness. So the Ashaya method puts those elements embodied. So what we do is, they're called the 4 essentials. And the 4 essentials are basically make up the 5 elements. And they are specific actions in the body that are aligned with the optimal alignment in the muscles and in the joints. And the sort of macrocosm alignment is to align our body, mind, and heart with the spirit divine, so that we have more of a possibility to relax and actually feel wonderful. And when we are feeling in that state of awe and wonder, you know that you've aligned with something bigger than yourself. You've aligned with grace, or you can call it light, or the great spirit, or the goddess. And we want to learn how to recognize that, because the spirit is alive in every single moment. It's just that we forget about it. And so we use the 4 essentials in our physical alignment that helps the flow of the life force energy, prana, the lymph. We learn how to engage the muscles. So if I were to just talk you through the 4 essentials. So the first thing we do is we open like the sky to remember our vastness, that everything we do is underneath this umbrella, that life is happening for me. And there's a deep relaxation when you can surrender into something greater than yourself. Then, keeping that openness, we engage the muscles like earth, which is more condensed. But what we understand is that earth is just condensed sky. Earth has all the components of sky: vastness, freedom, flow, all of it in limited form. So that's why when we look around, we see, everything in the material world, including the body, including the mind, that it's all part of the expression of this one infinite universal energy. And then because of that, then it has a sacredness to it. So we engage, and that helps to actually turn on the muscles that have either shut off or have become weak. So many times you go into a yoga class and you keep working the same strong muscles all the time. Meanwhile, the weaker muscles, which need to be activated, are ignored. So this really wakes up the entire body. And I'm not kidding. Like, if you come to an Ashaya class, you will feel it the next day in a good way. That just means that you brought all of your muscles online so that they can all function properly. And then, of course, if you have too much earth, everything gets tight. So water is the next element. And that is the 3rd essential, which is aligned, which is a combination of water and fire. Water is located around the hips, and it's the element of flow, to be able to go with the flow, to flow around obstacles with a greater degree of self-acceptance. And on a subtle level, we put obstacles in our way all the time. Obstacles like judgment, like feeling of lack, unworthiness, feelings of guilt or shame or regret, and, oh, I should have done something differently, or I don't have what it takes to be successful. There's so many, woe is me stories, all generated for good reasons, but there are also ways that we diminish ourselves and we pull ourselves out of the water element, which is a flow element, which is when you're in the water element, everything's flowing. We're not suppressing our emotions. The emotions flow like a river. And we know that emotions are the body's guidance signal. And so as we suppress, and like if we're feeling sad, or we lose a loved one and we feel grief, but we won't let ourselves cry. We hold it together. You know what I say in my classes? I say, like, for yogis, we need to lose it more often. We need to not hold it together so much and let the water element flow, because water ultimately is healing. And when you let your emotions flow, you gain insight. Energy moves. and we start to feel even more connected than before. Fire element, of course, we need fire. It's like our longing for freedom. Many people walk around kind of, I call it like the zombie mode. They've lost their inspiration. They're so cynical, so pessimistic that it's, best they can do is just like work 9 to 5 and then have beer on the weekends, which is fine. Like, how often did I do that? A lot. But we know that there's much more. So fire is important. Are you doing what lights you up in life? And then in the body, the fire element is around the abdomen in our core, the fire of digestion. It's not just that we digest our food, but we digest the experience that we're having. How do you assimilate that experience? How do you use it to actually nourish yourself and create more vitality? And yeah, when we get a raise or when we win the lottery, when all good things happen, it does inspire us. But the key here is that everything in life is for your awakening. And how can you turn challenges into life-enhancing change? How can you turn obstacles into opportunities? How can you make stumbling blocks into stepping stones? And, how can you make what you think is a setback is really a setup for a comeback? Like, these are the thoughts. These are the ways that we start to increase our light. Rather than dim it down, we put it up into full brightness. And then, of course, the air element, once you've done open, engage, align, then you expand, because air expands. We always want to grow ourselves, become more of who we are, to reach for something greater. That also keeps the fire element inspired. And it keeps us, like the opposites are expand and engage. So when you engage, things contract, but then you maintain the support of that while you stretch. That's called an eccentric contraction. That's very unique. That doesn't happen in a lot of yogas, but it will happen in Ashaya, which then creates more safety for the joints. We want to stretch the muscle in the belly of the muscle, not at the tendons. The tendons tear, So this yoga is biomechanically sound, and it aligns with, the science of the anatomy of the body, and also with every physical therapist that I've gone to see, they also say, wow, this method is also what we've learned in it aligns with the medical science. So what you'll get in Ashaya is all these techniques to learn how to align your body so you feel better, your pain will dissolve. And then it's not just align, it's not just like yoga for physical health, but we start to align our thinking, our emotions, our feelings, and our heart. And this sort of macrocosmic alignment is what really turns the tables. The door opens and we start to really experience ourselves as the crystallization of this vast infinite freedom, the divine's desire to know itself. And when you're in touch with that on a daily basis, your life starts getting really, really good. And then occasionally you get a glimpse like, oh my God, I'm living the dream in my life that I've had. And it's like, wow, now you're there. And then what is there to do after that? Serve. We want to serve the light. We want to serve others. We want to help other people find that quality of peace and return home to the place inside where they recognize they're already whole and complete, just as they are. This takes a good degree of self-acceptance and self-love to be able to nourish ourselves rather than running from our lives, just, trying to somehow keep our head above water. So, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little blast. This is my first time using StreamYard as the platform to do anything live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So shout out to everybody on YouTube who might be watching this now, and also those on Facebook, and to all my friends. Namaste.